Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is RLHarris. I am your host. And as we went to break, I was speaking with Pamela Price. Yes. Pamela is a lawyer right here in Alameda County who is running for the district attorney. This will be the first time in the county's history that we will have a black person as district attorney. Now, Pamela, let's turn to some of the points in your platform. You got a long, actually exciting platform. You got 10 points. I know we won't be able to cover them all, but let's try a few of them. Okay. Restore public trust in our criminal justice system. How are you going to do this?
I'm going to hold people accountable, and I'm going to show a level of fairness that we haven't had. People don't trust our criminal justice system a lot because of the way the police have treated particularly communities of color, but also in our judicial system. When you go to court in Alameda County, there's a lot that happens inside the courtroom that people don't understand.
Such as?
What are they talking about up there at the bench? When the lawyers go up and they talk to the judges, what are they talking about? Why is the public defender talking to the DA about these things? How did they come up with this offer that they're going to offer my child, that they want my child to plead guilty to something that has a 10-year sentence? Why is that being done? Why is my child even being charged? What are these conditions of probation?
So district attorney makes that initial decision as to charge or not charge.
Yes,
is that correct?
Right. Exactly.
And that becomes critical. And why is that critical?
Because depending on the charge, well, let's face it, when someone is charged or convicted of a crime, in California there are more than 1,773 licenses that you are no longer eligible for, just for being arrested in some cases. And a misdemeanor conviction or a felony conviction, it locks you out of economic opportunity. That's the underlying challenge that people don't see. It's secret, right? And then there's fines and fees associated with being in the criminal justice system that are imposed on people, whether it's your child or whether you're an adult. Particularly the juvenile fines and fees have been devastating economically to black and brown communities. Because if your kid is arrested and he can come home, then they don't charge you. But if they put your kid in juvenile hall, even if it turns out later that he's not going to be held and he didn't do the crime, you're going to get a bill for that. You're going to get a bill. And if you don't pay that bill, the DA's office has a collection unit that they're going to try to get a judgment against you. And a judgment in California is good for 10 years. If you don't pay it, now you got something on your credit record, okay?
And so if you own a home, I suppose they could institute a lien against it.
They will. They'll put a lien on your home, and it's good for 10 years and can be renewed for another 10, so 20 years because your kid did something, or maybe didn't even do something, just came in contact with the police. So these are the kinds of experiences, and when we look at prosecutions in Alameda County, it's intergenerational prosecutions where you have people who went to jail, they left their kids, and then their kids got into the criminal justice system.
Let's talk a little bit about gun violence, because that is happening all over matter of fact, all over the whole nation.
Yes.
What can we do to reduce gun violence?
We have to do.
And what role does the DA play?
We got to do some of the things that we had started to do before the pandemic. You know, before the pandemic, gun violence, particularly in Oakland, had gone down to, record low levels. The pandemic, initially, there was not a big increase, and then suddenly there was an increase. A lot of that we know.
What do you think happened to make that happen?
I think that people with mental health issues became more frustrated and violent. We know that ghost guns flooded California. Manufacturers at that time were able to increase the production of guns and the distribution of guns across the internet. So that California has become ground central across the country for the flood of ghost guns. Studies have shown where you have more guns in community, you have more gun violence.
Some of our viewers have no idea what you mean when you say ghost guns. They think of a ghost coming out of the sky or something.
That's true. A ghost gun is a gun that doesn't have a serial number.
Okay.
Gun sales are tracked based on serial numbers. Manufacturers are required to keep track of the serial numbers, and background checks go by, that's people get, when you get it, pass a background check and buy a gun legally, there's a serial number on that gun, and it can be traced back to you if it's used in a crime.
And there's some legislation, I believe, pending that will deal with the situation, which is long overdue.
It's long overdue. It became a crisis in the pandemic when people realized where are these guns. Law enforcement began to report, we're seeing guns. So a ghost gun, you can go on the internet, buy the parts to the gun, assemble the gun yourself, so your 15-year-old can go buy a gun, can figure out how to buy the parts and put together a gun, and it has no serial number. It's not traceable.
And that's outrageous. Let's talk for a moment about over-criminalizing our youth.
Yes.
Youth is our future.
That's true.
So what do you mean by that, and what do you plan to do?
According to the Department of Justice, between 2010 and 2016, a black child in Alameda County was 65 times more likely to be charged as an adult. A Latino child was 27 times more likely to be charged as an adult in Alameda County. Brian Stevenson in Just Mercy, he's the director of the Equal Justice Institute, he says none of us want to be judged by the worst thing we've ever done in our lives. And most of us, it was before we got to be 18. And so when we're taking juveniles who make stupid mistakes or hang out with the wrong people or get in the wrong car or go to the wrong party, and we criminalize them for having made that mistake, we give them even a misdemeanor, but certainly a felony conviction as a juvenile, we have started them on the pathway to criminality.
And that is so correct.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, I was a former deputy probation officer right here in Alameda County. I'm familiar with that, and I know the kinds of mistakes that young people can make that can haunt them for the rest of their lives. Right. Don't touch that remote. We have to go to a break. We will be right back again. My name is RLHarris. I am your host, and I'm speaking with Pamela Price, who is a candidate for Alameda County District Attorney.